We had just moved into our new house, and with that comes a lot of paperwork. So I had given Matt paperwork at the beginning of the week to finish, mortgage papers and all that good stuff that you have to turn in. And so I'd walked away on a Monday after giving it to him and just asked him to have it finished by the end of the week. And so this was Thursday, which is the end of our week for us. And he came in from work that day, and I asked him how his workday was, knowing in the back of my mind that I was going to eventually get to the question of, did you get around to this paperwork? And so I finally just asked him, hey, did you get the paperwork turned in? And he kind of avoided the question at first, and then eventually came and told me that he did not get the paperwork finished, but that he would do it. But it frustrated me because I'd asked him to do it in a certain time frame, and it didn't get done.
I came home from work. I walked in and she asked me how my day was. I said, great, but I could tell there was something more that she wanted to ask me about. And so then she followed that up by saying, hey, did you get a chance to get the paperwork done yet? And I looked at her and said, well, not yet, but I'm going to get it done. It's just been a few days. It doesn't need to be turned in for a few more days, like we have time. And she did not like that answer, and immediately I thought, why do you think this is such a big deal? Like, why can't I just get this done when I need to get it done? I'm going to get it done, you know that. Why are we even having this conversation right now? But to her, she took it as if I was telling her it wasn't important to me. It didn't matter, I wasn't thinking about it, I wasn't valuing her time or her request to get this done.
I automatically heard, I don't care about you, you're not priority, I have other things to take care of, and yeah, you don't really matter in this.
Ultimately, all of what I'm feeling boils down to one emotion, which I think is shame. I just start feeling as if I am not enough, I don't have what it takes to be a great husband or one day be a great father, and I just feel a ton of shame on my shoulders.
I just walked away from the conversation and immediately gave the silent treatment and went to a different room, and he knew what was being communicated.
That night we had a married event at our church, and I was thinking, okay, well, we're obviously not going to the married event, which is happening in 2 hours. This is not going to happen. About 30 minutes before the event was supposed to take place, I see that Ann is ready to go and walking out to her car, and I said, where are you going? She looked at me and said, I'm going to the married event. What? Get in the car. Aren't you coming? And I was like, no, I'm not going. She said, well, I am. So she gets in her car and goes. Meanwhile, I was just not going to attend.
I called him on the way to the event and I said, and you better get in your car and come too, because we can't let people see that we actually are having conflict before a married event. We were sitting in the event, and Ted was going through the content and invited his wife Nancy out to join him. And at that moment, I think I realized, like, oh no, this isn't just for like husbands in the room. This is for like women too. And I really loved her perspective on things.
I thought, great, this is exactly what I need to hear tonight and exactly what I don't want to hear tonight.
We just had good conversation that night and stayed up late, as you do when you fight after a long day, and like worked it out. And yeah, I think a question that we've really started to ask each other and ourselves is, what is it like to be on the other side of me, especially when we're arguing or fighting, like taking the perspective of, like, if I was on the other side of me, if I were in Matt's shoes, would this be the way that I would want to be talked to?
We now realize that very rarely, if ever, is it actually the action, the small thing, the, hey, you didn't remember to lock the car before you came in the house, or you didn't remember to put the dishes away, but there's something much deeper. And so I think since we heard the content from Ted and Nancy, now we've gotten to a point where immediately we just start asking the real, honest, difficult questions of, hey, what's really going on? What do we really need to talk about tonight?